Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well, and today, my friends, we're back with a showdown between the Greenskins and Vampire Coast, an old-school Warhammer 2 showdown. This was pretty much the grand finals of many a tournament. Back in land battle days, Greenskins were very strong, and so too were Vampire Coast, and they often met in the grand finals of faction war-style events. Now it's going to be Azag looking to drop some Bunas on Depth Guard, Spirit Leeches on all sorts of magic scary stuff. On top of that, a couple of artillery pieces, which is very risky against the undead. If they pack a ton of Fellbats, it's incredibly tough to protect them. Even with things like Squigs, Fellbats do have really high melee defense, can last a really long time. So Orc Boys backed up by a couple Night Goblin Archers. We do have a couple Skirmishers, so it's going to be Forest Goblin Spider Riders. And in the forest here, we have a little Vanguard force. So it's going to be Nasty Skulkers teamed up with some Night Goblins looking to kind of snake that side objective. So we are here on Needle Mist Isle, which is a very cool custom map. And this objective is really kind of off the beaten path, and usually it's going to be like Vanguard forces or little skirmish forces fighting over that one, whereas the middle objective does have a little bit of water. The Lizardmen certainly celebrating, so too are the Vampire Coast, and oh, wait a second, did I not think about this? Okay, Vampire Coast may be super meta here, because they have the aquatic, right? So other units are going to be struggling in the water, and they're not. Wow, that's actually really good. On top of that, mortars in the back. Mortars are very standard in this matchup. Basically, you just have them sit back and shoot at the Orc Air Boys, which are one of the good counters against your units, and you live your best life. On top of that, Lord's going to be CYLOSTRA. It looks like CYLOSTRA. Now, this is a cheeky little tactic. He basically just summons in CYLOSTRA to summon the damn Knights Errant, and then summons in a Vampire Caster. So it's like a really cheap way to get a terror-causing unit against the Greenskins over and over. Of course, kind of using the way in Domination that you can do that. I was really tempted to Buna these guys, I have to say. When these Fellbats were flying in, I was like, oh my god, I want to Buna them so bad. You can see my current Winds of Magic is sitting at 18, so I totally could have. But they're going to be jumping in just a second, so I do summon in some Squig Hoppers, which should, in theory, kill them very quickly. Fellbats are infantry-sized. These guys have a bonus versus infantry, so these Squig Hoppers are going to be sitting under them, kind of chilling out. Now, the Vampire Coast is going to be scooting up. You do see the Damned Knights Errant moved in, so they will be trying to bunker bust in my front lines. These are an incredibly annoying unit for the Greenskins to deal with. Of course you can, but being undead, they're unbreakable, so they're going to last a long time. And ironically, with the buff to Lance formation, these guys actually got quite a bit better because they can really punch through your formation. What is their mass right now? 1650. Pretty good. So Lance is out for the Drowned Dead, I suppose, and they get in there and they get a really nice charge. And look at that damage. Talk about cost effective. Then they immediately get into my Rusty Airs. Oh my god, look at the damage! That's so good! And I feel like this is just like a little tech because of the buff to the Lance formation, right? Now in the backfield, we do get on the Fellbats, and like we jumped on them as soon as they landed, but they still were able to break one of my my artillery pieces back here. The idea was that the artillery pieces would be effective at kind of shooting against the bomber mobs, which counter my infantry, but so far, like, the start of the game's been pretty much a disaster. It has not been a good start. The build hasn't been working out super well, but, you know, never say die, man. We got all sorts of tricks. We are the Greenskins. We are scrappy. And we got a bunch of halberds coming over, so it's going to be triple halberd mob. I do have Night Goblins and Skulkers. Hopefully they'll be able to trade okay into these mobs. You can see I have the capture weight here, so he does know I'm there. Part of me thinks maybe you should set off the objective and just kind of ambush him, but I did want to get that initial grab and try and get the points lead, so... In the backfield, Damned Knights Errant still causing tons of problems. Rampaging through my artillery pieces. You can see the Goblin Rock Clobbers in some serious danger. Thankfully, they are a summon and will be disappearing here in a second. But even still, I mean, you could just kind of keep summoning CYLOSTRA back and forth and back and forth. Seems like a really kind of, you know, savage strategy indeed. So the Orc Air Boys on the run. I see the Bomber Mobs. I see the Wall of Undead. Things are getting a little bit messy. On the side objective, I do have the AP Gloony, so the Unbreakable Goblin's going to be holding that point pretty happily, while the Orc Air Boys are going to be on their way back, and we get a little bit of DACA pouring in. So Forest Goblin Spider Riders, as well as the regular Spider Riders, or actually I think they're all, yeah, one of them's the Arwar, the Death Scrapers, and the other one's are regular. Going to be putting a little bit of DACA in, trying to wear down the zombies, and in the backfield, the Fellbats were able to cause massive havoc, but thankfully two of my crews will actually come back, so both Rock Lobbers, a little bit of a spoiler for a minute from now, but they will be back. And on the side, we have a little bit of an engagement. It's going to be the Night Goblins versus the zombies. I don't actually know who wins this. I feel like Night Goblins should win this fight against Halberds, but it's not going to be like an expedient process. It's going to take a while. And here, Nasty Skulkers going to be battling against Halberds as well. Their armor piercing's kind of wasted, but I think they're not trading super well. It seems like overall the 16 melee defense on the Skulkers and the fact that a lot of what you're paying for with Nasty Skulkers is dealing with armor isn't really doing super well. So overall, probably should have sent some of the Arwars over there. It is what it is. So Spider Rider's coming around the flank and going to be preparing an Alpha Strike here. I will be summoning in a bunch of units. You can see I'm banking resources to kind of try and overwhelm my opponent with a very surprising formation. Pulling back from the Bombers, I did get a little bit of a value lead, so it's not like super urgent that I get this objective back. Squig Hopper's going to be jumping around the side, and check this out, resummoning in CYLOSTRA once again. to spam out the damn Knights Errant. It's some wild shit. So she's going to be coming in looking to drop the Knights Errant. And, you know, worst case, what's cool about her is she's very cheap and she is ethereal and she causes terror. So you could always send her into the Greenskin army as just like this annoying terror piece, which is incredibly tough to remove, right? So as I'm kind of struggling to find a home right now, I was kind of like, man, Grom the Paunch could be really, really useful now. But this is where we start to strike back. So the value is, you know, closing a little bit. You can see all of our archers getting good damage into the bomber mobs. Bomber mobs are going to be forced back, and we do summon in our first kind of big wave of units. So it's going to be squig herds and orc biggins. Biggins are very good against coast, unless they're being targeted by bomber mobs. Otherwise, they kill the chaff very well. They kill the big boys. They do trade a little bit roughly into the depth guard, but overall can do okay. So I went for an ambush here. There were some animated hulks back here, but the damn Knights Errant going to be screaming across once again. And I was really shocked when I saw this. I was like, wait a second, it has 2 charges, but only now in reviewing the replay, I'm kind of seeing what was going down. So yeah, he's going to be chasing me back, and I should be able to kite him away here. They won't get too much damage, might pick off a couple squigs, but at the end of the day, I'm just going to run them out until their duration's gone. They're trying to minimize their effectiveness. So the side point didn't go super well, unfortunately. I did end up losing that trade. He pulled over some animated hulks. However, did pull a lot of resources over here to the side, which is allowing me to get a little bit of a potentially overwhelming numbers here in a minute. And Goblin Rockclobber is back online, shooting into the bomber mobs, and the other one, the Hammer of Gork, I believe will be back. So it's going to be at full firing efficiency, unless, of course, more Fellbats come. But hopefully it will get the job done. And now Azag's going to be descending. He is there. And dude, the zombies fighting in the water. Who would have thought, huh? Look at them, though. Aquatics is overpowered. You're hearing it now. OP. So big attacks coming in from Azag. He's waving his little wings, and now the old skirmisher is going to be pulling back, and squigs are moving in and getting on top of the bombers and different mobs here. So this is very cost effective for us. The squig herds should do very well. Granted, they will trade pretty poorly into the halberd mobs, but killing the bomber mobs is like everything. That's the most important thing in these type of matchups. That's why I initially went with Rockclobbers, which in retrospect, I might actually just change it up and bring a ton of just orc airboys. I'm talking like 10 of them and just like do a push like that and use Buna and, you know, on some of the higher value targets and things like that. But overall, we're getting back. Value lead has come for us, granted with healing being taken into account. He does have a healing caster. His army is a little bit bigger than mine. And here we do have the Orc Boys getting into combat. Orc Boys will outtrade many of these units here. Another Buna's going to be going down. Sadly, he didn't have any good units. I was like, damn. I was expecting some depth guard and like some big, you know, the Saltlord Scuttlers and these expensive RORs that I could be getting the Bunas on, but not too many. But it still does finish off the bomber mobs. And you can see here, these guys are getting crumped. Should be degenerating to the state of absence here on the map. And on the side, we got goblins as well as some orc biggins cutting through those guys. So being able to kind of scrap back the value a little bit. But undead, of course, even after some of the leadership nerfs, can really, really get a lot of healing going. And I believe his healing caster's right here. Yeah, you can see the Vampire Fleet Captain who was hiding in the bushes, dropping some fat heals, causing problems. But now Azag gonna give it to you. So he's coming down from the skies. He's gonna do some crumping. And this is a big pick for us. Getting rid of all of his magic is gonna be quite huge. Undead have some of the best magic in the game, and Azag is a really good assassin character. 480, 50 melee attack, also does poison. What's not to love? As here you can see the Spider Riders do get in there, and those zombie pistol mobs probably will be going down as well. Now, a little bit of flank pressure. I do have my Warlords boys back here, no AP Loonies. I don't know if they'll actually be able to beat an animated Hulk in combat, so I will be needing to send some reinforcements over there, but still, I've not been able to get the middle objective back yet. Our Goblin Rockclobber is still dropping some fat rocks on the face of these advancing shotgun mobs. Shotgun mobs are a very good choice on his part. It gives him something that can actually kill Azag. We're starting to make some momentum back. Most of the units here are pretty low quality, except I think he did mix in some depth guard. It's a little bit hard to tell on these maps that are lit like this. But nonetheless, Azag able to finish off the caster, negative 35 leadership, so that bad boy will be crumbling. The Wah going down to the valley once again as the boys continue to fight against the dreaded aquatic spam, guys. Man, this is the big brain tech for my opponent here. Looks like he does have some depth guard in the mix now. They are pretty healthy at this point, so we'll be dropping a Buna on them relatively soon. Squig Herd's going to be moving about, looking for some engagements as the Orc Boys and the Spider Riders able to break through the front line. And now he's moving over the animated Hulks from the side engagement, and he is going to be going for that middle point pretty aggressively. Now, value lead does favor myself, but it looks like the gold army value on the field actually does favor me as well, so we've kind of truly gotten through it. And of course, you have to take into account crumbling now. Crumbling is a little bit more substantial. It does slightly more damage than it did in the earlier days of the game, and of course, the units do have lower leadership. Nice little Fellbat usage. Going to be going after my archers here. We have some Night Goblin archers coming over to help finish off these animated Hulks. Archers, of course, are really, really good against these type of units. Only 35 armor, so it's going to be pretty much a dream come true. Squig Hoppers moving in to attack ye old Fellbats. Azag and company able to win the skirmish fight here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Wah's kind of scrapping its way back in the game. We're trying. But once again, the damn Knights Errant coming in with the OP Bretonnian Lance formation. Just all the weird tactics here with these guys. And I'm sure we'll be seeing this a lot after this video comes out of people doing this in tournaments and stuff. Pretty cool tech. I've been taking a little bit of break from playing myself. I've been casting a lot of games, but I haven't been getting as many tournament reps as I had been before. So I come back, and there's just all these like neat, weird tactics that you're seeing. It's very, very cool stuff. So well played to Kark there in that regard. Stone Troll's coming out. I just wanted some mass, something that could actually get in front of those Knights Errant, kind of stop them. Shotgun mobs getting a little bit of good DAC into Azag. Unfortunately, couldn't do a whole lot about that. So Azag will be retreating here. I believe we already used the Buna on the depth guard. You guys probably heard the evil cackling. I usually don't record with the sound that I'm hearing because it distracts me a little bit, but... Moving up, we have the Goblins. Goblins going to be getting their little poking sticks, getting wrecked by the Hulks here. So this is going to be a losing fight for me for sure. And now he's starting to get the momentum back. Those damn Knights Errant, every time, those damned Knights Errant, every time they come out, it gives them really, really good momentum at pushing me back. Over here on the side, it's going pretty well. You can see the animated Hulks are hopefully going to be losing there, although a little bit dicey. Squighert's coming in, finishing off the old Fellbats, but not quick enough. Fellbats and their melee defense, man, 45. Pretty crazy stuff. One of the first times I really learned about the efficacy of Fellbats was when I was playing, I can't remember who it was. It was like Dwarves or someone, and I was playing against random Nicks, and he literally just like summoned chain waves of 4 Fellbats at a time, and just like, it was the most nightmarish situation for my artillery like in the world. And that's been one of my biggest flaws as a player, is I really like to use artillery, and there's a lot of situations, especially on maps like this, where it's not like super good, especially against undead who can summon in those type of disruption units. Furies are a bit of a different story because their melee defense is so low, they die so quick, but Fellbats really last a long time. So realizing that, I might need a triple cap. Most likely will. I'm going to be doing some secret agent shenanigans here in a minute. We'll be summoning in the Rusty Arrows to press this side. Moonhowler's going to scream in and try and get on these guns, and just trying to rally back all these haggard greenskin units whose leadership is wavering. Orc Biggin's just doing some Chad work. Fighting in the water, 762 value. Not bad at all, and cutting through most of these zombies. Depth Guard, I think, are also crumbling down. So no, we didn't get the Bune on them yet. I think this is a new wave of the Depth Guard units. They've only gotten 380 value, so far they haven't done too much. Looking at the gold value on the battlefield, it's 8.9 to 8.5, but his army is about 1,000 gold bigger than mine. He did use a couple invocations on Depth Guard as well as animated Hulks, so that is kind of one of the variables you have to take into account. This fight's just been a duel of fates over here. I think we have a couple goblins left, 24 of the AP Cloonies, trying to drag down the animated Hulks, baby, but they got those cannon arms, they got those crab arms, the atomic crab pimp slap coming in there, and we'll see if we can get them. I think the crumbling will give us the edge in that fight, which is going to be pretty substantial. So really just kind of a big, ugly brawl over the middle of the map, really. Here on the far side, Durkid Squigherd's going to be moving around, looking to get on some of the missile pieces. I haven't been able to shut down the mortars. He's been able to shoot out of the trees relatively well. It seems like their line of sight has been efficient, really bombarding my archers and kind of lowering their numbers. Since he isn't able to get back there with like dogs and things like that, it seems to be a pretty good idea. Animated Hulks battling against Stone Trolls. On the other side, Night Goblin's going to be surging in, and the Squigherds have been able to get a good fight. We got on top of Scurvy Dogs and Deckhand Mobs, both things that these Squigherds are quite good against, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of start turning the tide and get this objective. Now, the Undead are coming out with a bit of a second wave. More zombies, mortars still firing in the tree line, and now it looks like Hark is going to be going for pressure on the far side as he does get his gunnery mobs and his bats, and I saw it coming, so I summoned some Spider Riders over, but I didn't do the best job at unsummoning a lot of my units, so I found that my reinforcements were a little bit kind of tattered, and Spider Rider's going to be moving in, using their high melee defense to target these pistol mobs, and just trying to hold them back for as long as I can, while I focus on recapturing the middle objective. And here comes the secret agent tactic. So this is where we do it, baby. This is where we come back. We get the Rusty Arrows, we move them up, we shoot these guys down, we get some mobility, and then we just snake this point. It's very possible, and finally we're starting to get a little bit of pressure on the middle. I know I've said that like 3 times, but this time it's actually true. There's not a whole lot left. We have the animated Hulks. Squigs here able to tear apart the mobs pretty quickly. You can see they're crumbling, so there's going to be a little bit of extra damage. These mobs are going down, and now we actually have capture weight here, which is great, but we're also under pressure on multiple fronts. Squigherd's going to be diving over here on top of the gunnery mobs, and I believe the Spider Riders are doing pretty darn good, fighting off the Fellbats. They're durable, they're shielded. For what they are, they have pretty good melee defense at 32. So honestly, I was pretty happy with this. But once again, CYLOSTRA coming back in. She probably only costs like 700 gold. So you're getting like an ethereal, terror-causing Damn Knight Errant for a short period of time, like kind of a lease program. That really bunker busts the position, because otherwise I think this objective is mine. So now he's going to be coming in here with the Damn Knights Errant, potentially getting terror routes here. You can see the objective swinging back to us. At this point, we would need a triple cap, but I have a game plan for that. I have the Rusty Arrow sneaking up on the side. Spider Riders as well, going to be putting some hurt into these guys, and we are going to be trying to get the triple cap as the comeback is on. So we drop a Spirit Leech on the Damn Knights Errant. I'm like, screw it, man. I need to stop these guys. The Stone Trolls, I sent them in just as a sacrifice. They haven't gotten too much value, but they were able to keep the Knights from penetrating in and causing a ton of terror in my army. Granted, the Trolls themselves are going to get terrified because they're Trolls. What's to be expected? And if we can flip this objective, that's going to be pretty good. Halberds on their way in, but terror routes are going to be a big problem. All this capture weight I'm suddenly getting on is being pushed off. Just the mere presence of those units terror routes my Orc Arrow boys. And now they move in here, and it's going to be another mass terror route as my Squigs and Orc boys are just getting hammered. This one Knights Errant flips the game right there. Suddenly, I don't have the capture weight. All my units are kind of running. Trolls got routed. These guys got routed. The dreaded OP Knights Errant, man. And Aquatics, just too overpowered. I can't handle it. Now, on this side, not going too badly. I do have Night Goblin Archers, Death's Creepers. Should be able to hold them back for a period of time. It's just a couple mobs here, so I'm going to be sending in those guys. Azag trying to fight these Hulks here, but I did not see these guys creeping up. I was very, very stressed on Micro here. And here we see the Zombie Pirate Hand Cannon mobs going to be creeping up on Azag. The old scurvy dogs in their natural habitat. Moving in. Going to be gatting down on Azag. Squig Hopper's trying to get in here, guys. But now it's looking a little bit bleak. Although my side engagement went pretty well. Here you can see the Halberds got crumbled, and I do have my Spider Riders pushing into the back. But with the middle going his way, that was my chance to maybe secure that and hold it, you know, and get the capture weight. But that damn Knights Errant with the big terror route really got us, and that is going to be GG well played. Great game from my opponent, man. I've never seen that tech before, so that was something to take into account. In retrospect, it was a pretty close one. I think he definitely had the advantage for most of the game after the beginning, but we had our moments where we clawed back. I would cut all these things. All these rock lobbers, just get basic archers. I really, really lost when the Fellbats came in and karate chopped me. And the Knights Errant tech was really cool. I'd probably switch to Grom the Paunch and a River Troll Hag as well. I think Grom the Paunch is so good at killing bomber mobs that it's kind of a must to take. So yeah, learned a lot. It was great, man. I'm ready for that matchup next time. Squig Herds did fine, I guess. Hoppers did okay. Biggins, some of them got bombed, some didn't. It was a great match. And yeah, his build is really good. Mortars didn't get a crazy amount of value, but the damn Knights Errant really, really won him that game with the Fellbats. It was crazy. The Fellbats were just so disruptive in the beginning. Really set me back. GG well played. Awesome game from him. We'll see you guys next time. That's it for today. And W10 you.